Let's talk about one of the most incredible materials in your body, something you probably never think about. It's the stuff that makes up your skin, lines your stomach, and basically forms a living, intelligent barrier for your entire body. Today, we're going to peel back the layers on this unsung hero, epithelial tissue. So, let's start with a little riddle. Think about the tough, protective surface of your skin. Then think about the delicate lining of your blood vessels, and then the hardworking gut. I mean, they seem totally different, right? But believe it or not, they share one fundamental building block. Any guesses?
Yep, the answer is epithelial tissue. This is the body's go-to fabric for just about everything. It's the ultimate boundary material. It covers you on the outside, it lines everything on the inside, and it even forms all of your glands. It's not just common, it's absolutely fundamental to how we're built.
So, what's the secret sauce? What makes this one tissue type so versatile? Well, to really get it, we need to look at its core design principles, the fundamental rules that all epithelial tissues play by, no matter where you find them.
Okay, so check this out, because here's a total paradox. This tissue has no blood vessels of its own. Zero. It gets all its food by diffusion from the tissue underneath it. And yet, it's packed with nerve fibers. That's why even a tiny paper cut hurts so much. But its greatest superpower? It regenerates like crazy. The reason a scrape on your knee or a burn on your tongue heals so fast is because this tissue is literally built to be damaged and replaced constantly.
All right, so if this stuff is everywhere, how does it build so many different structures? It really all boils down to two main blueprints. The body either uses a single delicate layer, we call that simple, or it stacks them up for protection, which we call stratified. Let's take a look.
And here it is, the key difference right here. On the left, you've got simple epithelium, just one cell thick. It's designed for speed and efficiency, perfect for places where you need to move molecules across a barrier, fast. On the right, you have stratified. This is all about defense. It's a multi-layered wall for rugged protection. Basically, it's efficiency versus armor.
Okay, buckle up. Our anatomical tour is going to start deep inside the body, where all the delicate, high-stakes work is happening. Let's meet the single-layer specialists, the simple epithelia.
First up, we have simple squamous. Now, squamous is just a fancy word for flattened, so imagine laying down the thinnest possible tile floor you can. That's this tissue. It's designed with one purpose in mind: create the shortest possible distance for stuff to get from one side to the other.
So where would you need a design like that? Well, anywhere speed is everything. You find it in the air sacs of your lungs, so oxygen can zip into your blood, and it lines all your tiny capillaries so nutrients can get out to your cells. It is a perfect, beautiful example of form-following function.
Next up on our tour is simple cuboidal. And as the name implies, these cells are shaped like little cubes, all lined up in a single row. This shape gives them a bit more volume, making them perfect for forming the tiny tubes and ducts you find in places like your kidneys and glands.
But what if the job is more complicated than just being a tube or a thin barrier? For the really heavy-duty work, you need a bigger workshop, and that's exactly what simple columnar epithelium is. These are tall, column-shaped cells that have a ton of internal space for all the machinery needed for complex jobs like secretion and absorption.
And these cells are the real workhorses of the body. In the stomach, they're secretory, cranking out mucus to protect the lining. In your intestines, they're absorptive, covered in tiny microvilli to soak up nutrients. And some even have cilia, tiny little hairs that beat in rhythm to sweep things along, like in your airways. A truly amazing, multi-talented design.
Okay, we've seen the delicate inner specialists. Now our tour moves to the front lines, the surfaces that face friction and the outside world every single day. These areas need some serious armor. It's time to meet the multi-layer protectors, the stratified epithelia. This right here is the body's brick wall, stratified squamous epithelium. It's built in layers, kind of like a cellular factory. The cells at the bottom are constantly dividing and pushing the older cells up towards the surface. As they move up, they flatten out, eventually becoming tough, disposable tiles on top. It's the perfect system for places that take a beating.
And this brick wall comes in two main models. For the wet, internal surfaces, think your mouth or esophagus, you have the non-keratinized version, where the surface cells are still alive. But for the dry exterior, your skin, you need the heavy-duty, keratinized version. Here, the surface cells are actually dead and packed full of keratin, a tough, waterproof protein that forms our ultimate shield against the outside world.
All right, get ready for this next one, because it's really special.
It's a type of stratified tissue that has a unique superpower. It's the body's very own shapeshifter.
Meet transitional epithelium. Its superpower is all in its design. See, when an organ is relaxed, the surface cells are all plump and dome-shaped. But as that organ stretches, the cells flatten out and slide past each other, allowing the entire tissue to expand, a lot, without tearing. It's basically a sheet of biological rubber.
So where on earth would you need a tissue that can stretch like that? Well, the urinary system is the perfect place. It lines your bladder, allowing it to go from nearly empty to holding a huge volume of liquid and then shrink right back down again. It's just a brilliant piece of biological engineering for a very specific job. So far, we've mostly talked about epithelium as a covering or a lining, but its resume is a whole lot broader than that. So now, let's meet the special agents, epithelial cells that have evolved to take on highly specialized missions.
First up, we have the secretion specialists. Glandular epithelium is basically made of cells that have been retooled into tiny factories, their whole purpose being to produce and secrete substances. Every time you sweat, release a hormone, or make digestive juices, you have these specialized epithelial cells to thank.
And this specialization gets incredibly detailed. You don't need to memorize this whole chart, but the big idea is this. The cell's shape and structure change based on what it's making. Cells that produce thick, slimy mucus look totally different from cells that produce thin, watery secretions. Once again, it all comes back to that key idea. Form follows function, right down to the tiniest detail.
Now this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Some epithelial cells have evolved to become our direct connection to the world around us. These are neuroepithelium cells, and they're basically sensory receptors. They are the reason you can taste your food, see the world, and hear sounds. They create that crucial bridge between a physical stimulus and your nervous system. Just incredible.
So a final question. How does all this tissue, especially the stuff that gets stretched and pulled, stick together so tightly? The answer lies in specialized junctions called desmosomes. The best way to think of them is as powerful molecular rivets. They physically bolt the internal skeletons of neighboring cells together, turning a bunch of individual cells into an incredibly strong, unified sheet of tissue.
So let's just end with this one thought. We've seen that one of the biggest features of this tissue is constant, rapid regeneration. Your intestinal lining is brand new every few days. Your skin is constantly replacing itself from the bottom up. So what does that tell you about the unbelievable amount of wear and tear your body silently handles every single day just by being alive? It's a pretty amazing reminder of the invisible, relentless work happening inside us all the time.